Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Drytron deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is an extremely powerful deck that can easily control the board using all of our awesome boss monsters. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go and get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing a single copy of Drytron Dad. This card is an amazing one-of in the build, and you only need a single copy of this card because it is extremely searchable in this deck. But this card is a double monster negate, which is insane, and it's even a soft once per turn, so if you link it away with your copy of IP to summon out Dynamundo during your opponent's turn, it's super easy to bring this card back to your side of the field using Dynamundo and get 4 monster negates in a single turn using this card's effect. This card is such a powerful boss monster and so cool to be able to play in the build, as it also makes so other Drytron monsters you control cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects, which is just such a powerful ability. Plus, this card floats into another Drytron monster because this card has the effect that if this ritual summon card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can actually special summon a ritual monster with 4,000 attack points from your hand or deck, and it is treated as a ritual summon, which you're always summoning out your copy of Draconids off this card's effect. We then play a single copy of Draconids. Draconids is just really good in the build as a one-out to basically just float your copy of Drytron Dad into this card, just in case you need to, but it's also a really good OTK piece. We then play 2 copies of Cyber Angel Benton. Cyber Angel Benton is great as a 2-of in the build because this card just helps out a lot in the deck, as if this card is triggered, you get to add a Light Fairy monster from your deck to your hand, which helps to search out copies of Diviner or Vanity's Ruler, which is so cool to be able to instantly grab this card from your deck to your hand, but I really like playing 2 copies in the build. We then play 3 copies of Mewtwo. Mewtwo is actually insane for this deck and just such a powerful card overall. This card has the ability it cannot be normal summoned or set, it must be special summoned by a card effect, and if a Drytron card is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand to your graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. And if it's special summoned, you can actually add a Drytron monster from your deck to your hand, except a copy of this card, but the only downside of this card is after you resolve that effect, you cannot summon out monsters that are ritual monsters except for machine monsters the turn you activate either of these effects, which is totally fine because we're only summoning out the machine ritual monsters in this deck between our copy of Drytron Dad and our copy of Draconids to our side of the field in this build, so it really isn't that big of a drawback in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Alpha Thubin. Alpha Thubin is definitely a 3-of in the build, and the rest of our Drytron monsters actually share an awesome common effect. They cannot be normal summoned or set, and they must be special summoned with the effect of a Drytron card. And you can also tribute one other Drytron monster or a ritual monster from your hand or field to special summon this card from your hand or your graveyard in defense position. Then you get an awesome bonus effect, which your copy of Alpha Thubin lets you add a ritual monster from your deck to your hand, which is such a powerful ability to instantly grab the exact card that you need. We then play 3 copies of Zeta. Zeta is definitely a 3-of in the build as well and helps out a lot in this deck because Zeta has the ability, just like your copy of Alpha Thubin, to special summon itself out to your side of the field. But when this card is special summoned, you get to add a ritual spell from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to instantly grab the exact card that we need. We then play 2 copies of Gamma. Gamma is really good in the build as a 2-of because when this card is actually summoned, you get to special summon an additional Drytron monster from your graveyard that has 2,000 attack points, which is such a powerful effect to instantly get us an additional monster out on our side of the field so we can go in for some XZ plays. We play a single copy of Delta. Delta is really good as a 1-of in the build because this card helps us draw cards, because if this card is special summoned to your side of the field, you can actually reveal a ritual monster or a ritual spell in the hand, and if you do, you get to draw a card, which is a pretty cool effect, but we basically just play this card in the build as an additional name. We then play a single copy of Ursatron. Ursatron is a very unique card in this build, because this card has the ability that if you control an Ursartic or a Drytron monster, you can special summon this card in your hand, and then you get to add a Drytron spell trap from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to instantly grab your copy of Fafnir off this effect, so we can grab our copy of Nova, which is actually insane, but this card is just really good as a 1-of extender in the build. We then played 2 copies of Diviner of the Herald. Diviner is really good as a 2-of in the build, just to be able to normal summon that to our side of the field, as this card in our copy of Vanity's Ruler is the only normal summons we play in the entire deck. But this card is the ability, if it's normal or special summon, you can send a fairy monster from your deck or extract to the graveyard. If you do, increase this card's level by that monster's level, which you always make this card a level 6 by sending Herald of the Arclight from your extract to the graveyard, so we can search out a ritual monster or a ritual spell, and then we can use this now level 6 monster plus any one of our level 1 Drytron monsters to step into an FA Dawn Dragster, so we can basically have a spell trap negate alongside our copy of Drytron Dead that's actually 2 monster negates, which is insane to give us so many pluses off this card. Plus, that search will off your copy of Benton, as when you tribute your copy of Benton for the effect of your Drytron monsters, you can actually search this card from your deck to your hand. We may see a copy of Vanity's Ruler. Vanity's Ruler is really good as a 1-of in the build because this card can win games all by itself. We only have Diviner and this card as normal summons in the deck, and this card is searchable off the effect of Benton because it is a light fairy monster. This card is a super simple effect that your opponent cannot special summon monsters, and it's super easy just to tribute summon this card to your side of the field. We then played 3 copies of Drolan Lockbird. Drolan Lockbird is just a really powerful hand trap this format and helps out a lot in this build just to shut down the opponent's plays, and it's a really good 1-of in the deck just in case you need it to basically just stop your opponent from touching the deck for the rest of the turn. Plus, this card is one of the most powerful hand traps to play this format. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of 1 for 1. 1 for 1 is really good as a 1-of in the build to instantly get the exact monster we need out on our side of the field. This card helps out so much in the deck, it's just a really powerful 1-of in the build. We have a single copy of Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is a really powerful 1-of in the build to basically help us get the exact card we need in the graveyard. We then a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is awesome in the deck as a 1-of to basically just stop your opponent from hand trapping you while you're going in for all of your plays. And then a single copy of Triple Tactics Talent. Triple Tactics Talent helps out a lot in this deck as a 1-of because this card helps out a lot because it either lets you draw 2 cards, take control of an opponent's monster, or look at your opponent's hand and choose a card from it and shuffle it into the deck, which is so cool to deal with hand traps before your opponent even plays the second one after they activate the first one, so we can actually activate this card. We then play a single copy of Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity is really good as a 1-of in the build because we have a lot of cards in the extract we can actually use this card. Even if you just use 3 to dig in the deck, it's really good for consistency. And play a single copy of Meteonis Drytron. This card is probably my favorite quarter century. It just looks absolutely gorgeous, and this card is really good in the deck as this card has the ability that this card can be used to ritual summon any ritual monster from your hand or your graveyard, and you must also tribute machine monsters from your hand or field whose total attack equals or exceeds the attack points of the ritual monster you're trying to ritual summon. And if this card is in your graveyard, you can actually target a Drytron monster that you control, and it loses exactly 1,000 attack points until the end of the opponent's turn, and if it does, you get to add this card back to your hand, which is such a powerful effect to instantly recycle this card, but you really only need a single copy of this card, as any more than one is just bricks. We then play 2 copies of Fafnir. Fafnir is awesome as a 2-of in the build and helps out a lot in the deck, as when this card is activated, you can actually hit a Drytron Speller Trap from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card, and the activation and effects of your ritual spell cards cannot be negated, which is such a powerful effect. It reminds me a lot of Magical Meltdown, but for rituals. We then play 3 copies of Drytron Nova. Drytron Nova is basically E-Telly for the deck, letting you special summon a Drytron monster from your deck, but destroyed during the end phase, when this card is basically a 1-card combo for the build. We then play 3 copies of Cyber Emergency. Cyber Emergency is basically the rotor for the deck, letting us add the exact Drytron we need from our deck to our hand. We then play 3 copies of Forbidden Droplets. Forbidden Droplets is definitely a 3-of in the build, just to help us break our opponent's board, and also half the attack points of our opponent's monsters, because we want our Drytron monsters in the graveyard, and it basically activates this card for free when we use our Drytron monsters for this card's effect, because they can special summon themselves out of the graveyard. So this card is just so free in the deck, and really good to help you break your opponent's board. So, that's it for the main deck, guys. We do not play any trap cards. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with 2 copies of Mu Beta Fafnir. This card is definitely a 2-of in the build because this card does it all for the deck. This card has the ability that when you ritual summon, you can actually detach materials from this card to be able to actually use those materials as the requirements for a ritual summon. Meaning you can actually use both the materials plus this card for the entire tribute to summon out the Drytron Dad to your side of the field. So it has 5,000 attack points, meaning it's super easy to summon using this card. This card also has the ability, if this card is XZ summon, you can actually send a Drytron card from your deck to the graveyard, which is great to instantly Foolish Burial one of your cards that you need. And also, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card, when you control a machine ritual monster, quick effect, you can detach a material on this card to negate the activation to destroy that card, giving you an awesome spell trap negate in the form of this card. We might see a copy of Fucho. Fucho is just really good to help us go in for a copy of Zeus. It's just a good option overall in the deck. And let's see a copy of Downer Magician. Downer Magician is really good, just give us an additional material for a copy of Zeus. And let's see a copy of Zeus, just to help us board wipe the field, just in case we need to. Play a single copy of Typhon. Typhon's awesome today to help us balance cards off the field, and be a skill drain for 3,000 or higher attack point monsters. This card is just really good overall in the build, but you want to watch out when you have your copy of your Drytron Dad on your side of the field. It does have 5,000 attack points. We play a single copy of F.A. Dawn Dragster. This card is very easy to summon out to your side of the field using a copy of Diviner, because you can easily make Diviner a level 6 in the deck, so you can actually use a Drytron monster plus your copy of Diviner to step into this card, which is just really good to be able to do. We play a single copy of Herald of the Arclight. Herald of the Arclight is great as a 1-of in the build to send to the graveyard off your copy of your Diviner, so you can basically search out a ritual monster or ritual spell, which is so cool to be able to do with this card. I'm going to see a copy of Elder Inti-Nist. Elder Inti-Nist comes up every so often in the deck. When you need to pop a card by normal summoning out your copy of Diviner, you can send this card to the graveyard to help you pop something on the field, which is a pretty good option in the deck. And last, see a copy of Access Code. Access Code's great in the build to help you pop multiple cards on the field, plus it comes out absolutely massive. And last, see a copy of Dynamundo. Dynamundo is a card you summon out all the time in this deck during the opponent's turn, using a copy of IP Masquerena, which is just such a powerful play in the deck, as if this card is special summon, you can actually target a card in the field and a ritual monster in the graveyard, shuffle both in the deck, which you're usually just targeting your copy of Benton that's in the graveyard, to be able to shuffle it back so you can basically spin a card out the field. And also, during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can actually attribute this card and then target a ritual monster in the graveyard and either add it to your hand or special summon it. So what you usually do with this card is you end on a copy of Dad Draconids plus IP Masquerena, and then during the opponent's turn, after you used both of your effects of your Dad Draconids, you can actually just instantly be able to link it away for a copy of Dynamundo using IP to be able to refresh it using your copy of Dynamundo, because you bring it back to your side of the field to bring out your copy of your Dad or Drytron Dad, so you can actually use it as a double negate all over again, because it's a soft once per turn. Let's steal a copy of Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Phoenix is just great to be able to pop your opponent's back row. It's a really good one-of in the deck, because we easily can deal with monster effects in the deck, but this card is just really good in the build, just to help you pop your opponent's back row. Let's steal a copy of SP. SP is great to be able to use as a double interruption. It's just an awesome option in the build. Let's steal a copy of IP. IP is single-handedly one of the most important cards in the entire X deck, as you always want to end on your copy of your Drytron Dad, plus this card on your side of the field. So again, you can basically use your copy of your Drytron Dad for 2 negates, then link it away with your IP, summoning out Dynamundo, then use Dynamundo to bring it back to your side of the field, while also spinning a card off the field, because with your copy of IP plus your copy of Drytron Dad, you can actually establish 4 monster negates plus an interruption with your copy of Dynamundo, which is just actually insane. We then play a single copy of Relinquished Anima. Relinquished Anima is just really good. You play so many level 1 monsters in the deck, and just basically use this card really well in this build to help you gobble up your opponent's monsters. So, that's it for the build, guys. I would enjoy this deck. Is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Drytron deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try, because it's such a powerful deck, and it's insane the boards you can actually establish with this particular build to be able to just help you go in for game, especially summoning out Drytron Dad. So, that's it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad. We'll see you guys in the next video. See you, guys.